Absolutely.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Mechanics Institute, where we are here covering round three of the January 2021 Tuesday night marathon. I'm
Excellent.
Abel Talamantes, chess director, and with me is FIDE master Paul Whitehead. And here we are. Two rounds tonight, game in 35 plus two. Uh,
Really exciting.
Round three has started, and here is board one with National Master Rouyan Yan against Grandmaster Alexander Lenderman. Board four on the winning Webster team at the 2021 the Pan Am, uh, which John Donaldson was saying their Webster's top team could probably be in the top 15 at an Olympiad.
Oh, yeah.
They were so strong. So here we are with Rui playing white against Lenderman. What do you think?
Well, I think Black has gotten kind of a nice little French defense here with, and again, I don't want to sound too ignorant, but this opening is not something that I'm right away familiar with. Black has to worry a bit about some kind of lightning attack on f7, but it's still a ways away. And this was sort of like the Milner-Barry variation almost of the French defense with some kind of twist.
And this actually came out of a Carol Khan that
See, there you go.
where the C6 was eventually pushed to C5.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
And let's check on board two, which is Grandmaster Gadir Gusayanov.
Fantastic.
Playing Ethan Boldy.
This is the most, the pandemic is terrible, but look at what's happened at the club. We have grandmasters playing local favorites and stuff like that. It's a lot of fun. It's to watch, I think.
And no, I totally agree. And one of the players that we always thought was going to benefit from his continuous play at the Mechanics Institute was FIDE master Kyron Griffith, who just yesterday got his second IM norm in Charlotte, playing at the Charlotte Winter IM Norm Invitational, tied for first. And
Fantastic.
got that norm. So congratulations to Kyron. And he's been playing several GMs and IMs through our events.
Variants. Yeah.
And it's funny because we were talking way before that, all this experience playing online, I think it's going to benefit him if he ever starts, going back to chasing the norms. And he got it done. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, well, he's overdue, I think, for that IM norm, and the pandemic slowed him down. But it's interesting to see some of the people that are getting their norms here, like Hans Niemann, people that were connected with the club and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to see them, get to the top level.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to board three.
This is still a game.
This is FIDE master Eric Yuhan Lee playing white against William Sartorio.
Okay, we haven't seen Eric Lee for a while. It's great to have him back.
Absolutely.
And can white play knight d5 here? Trying to grab the exchange. Rook d5, bishop d5, can't take back, the c-pawn's pinned. Is Black going to play queen a5? Black's position is precarious here. Uncastled king.
King's still in the middle of the board there.
Yeah. I'm looking at white having a knockout blow, possibly.
Wow, this early, huh?
Well, at least getting a strong advantage here.
And we'll keep an eye on this game, but we have a game on board 4 that you don't see every day. This is Elliot Winslow playing black against Michael Walder.
You don't see that every day, huh?
You probably see this literally every day with them.
But look at this. It's a Najdorf right out of the old school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about them too is that they actually play hard fought games when they
Oh
do.
yeah.
It's not like
theoretical games.
Yeah.
Hey, I have to get a little. This is of course a well-known position, and I once played Keraz's old queen sacrifice with a twist. Here, bishop e2, b5, e5, bishop b7, and then played e takes f6 against Nick DeFermian, of all people. Grandmaster Nick DeFermian, and I beat him in a People's tournament in Berkeley.
People's?
Oh, actually, it was a Cal Chess Masters tournament in Berkeley.
Ah.
So that was one of the highlights of my chess career.
I haven't seen that one in the newsletter. That that column you used to do about all the people you used to beat up on.
What?
You know that column you used to do of all the people you used to beat up on.
Yeah, it was in that column.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've got to get my licks in when I can.
You get the soapbox, man. You got to jump all over it.
That's right.
Hey, Christopher Bradley's in the chat saying he wants pictures or it never happens.
Well, like I said, it's in one of our old newsletters. I put the game in. Nick and I played a few times. He ended up with a plus score against me, but we did play a 139 move draw at the Mechanics Institute once when we were teenagers.
Wow.
And that game I published as well.
So moving on to this game here between Steve Gaffigan playing white against Nicholas Wang. This be a great mechanics match to watch. Gaffigan, a old school mechanics regular, and Nicholas Wang, who started playing at mechanics before we had to close down, but making his mark.
So black is kind of maybe on bishop f4. I don't think black can play e5. And I was looking at knight takes e5, knight takes e5, bishop b7, queen b7, bishop takes e5. Black has queen takes h1 check, but white might be able to play queen e2 or something like that. Might be risky for white to run into that right away. Just castling, and then bishop f4.
Let's go back to a game we were looking at earlier between Eric Lee and William Sartorio.
Yeah, this game had me, knight g5, queen a5. So what we have to think now, I like maybe bishop takes e5 and then queen g5 or something like that. Or if I'm white, I'm looking for a shot here to try to win something. All right, so knight b4. Now white at least has the two bishops. Also now bishop queen e3. Queen takes b4, queen e3 with a double attack on e5 and a7. White has the two. Also, bishop takes e5 and queen g5. Well, I don't know what black's thinking about here. Queen takes b4 is pretty much forced.
And there you go. And let's take a look at this game here between Huseynov and Boldy.
We get one of these very, very typical positions that come out of the French. Black has chances here.
Although that was a good move there, just kind of stifling the bishop and the advancement of that pawn.
Yeah, and taking advantage of the fact that Black can't play knight takes knight here. And if he's going to take, he has to take with the bishop. But that might not be, yeah, that's probably not that great with White being able to play knight c5. But at least the e-pawn weakness is gone. But Black is left with a bad bishop, or at least a bishop that's struggling there. So Black can temporize and play bishop e8 maybe. Does knight takes d4 work? Knight takes d4, Abel. What about knight takes d4?
Knight takes d4. Knight takes d4. Oh!
If knight takes d4, knight takes d4, bishop takes e5. Queen takes e5. Oh,
went the other.
That was interesting. Black would have won a pawn, but the white rook might have come down to c7. So there was a shot there, and Black maybe should have taken a close look at that. Not sure.
Unless he just did not like the idea of that rook being down there.
Yeah, it needed some investigation. I didn't get started on it, didn't get a chance to look at it.
Let's go back to board 1 and look at Rouyan and Lenderman.
Fairly standard kind of position with Black is very solid here. This is not going to be easy. Black is also up a pawn. So White has 2 bishops, and this is, complicated. Black's hardly using any time here. My guess now is Black's going to play queen c7 and then try for f6 or something like that.
So she is down a pawn, but
yeah, has some pressure. 2 bishops.
Yeah.
If queen c7 is possible, then bishop f4 maybe. Not so easy. Rook h5. Maybe then.
And for anyone looking for the standings and the pairings and who's where, you can just check out that link right there. And remember, round 4 is tonight at 8 p.m. 2 games per evening in the Mechanics Tuesday Night Marathon. Queen c7 played by Lenderman.
As I predicted. Now on bishop f4, maybe g5. That's the kind of move that gets played. I'm not saying it's any good, but or queen or rook h5 maybe. I mean, I'm not sure White really wants to play bishop f4, but
hey, look at this game. This is in our under 1800 section, board 3.
Yeah, good. Let's take a look at some of those.
And this is White is Ethan's son playing Shiv Sohal, both with 2 out of 2 at this point. But this is how we got here. Black plays h5. And look at that. Takes there. And here we are.
That's definitely trying to take advantage. So Black Black is up a queen at the moment for a piece,
Right.
but
Ethan's
I
son.
think white is successful with this, and
And
black is faced with c7 check, and it's not going to be easy to avoid disaster here.
black is definitely in the think tank now after all of that and trying to work this out, and maybe on the realization that things have gone south, because even if black plays something like queen c7, you take on b7 with check, and then you're going to
And then
the rook.
take the rook. Yeah, this is not good for black, I don't think. a6, c7 check, take on b5, white takes on d8 check, and then takes on d1.
Yeah, this is a nice little classic queen sack there.
Well, let's take a let's take a look at that. A6, c7 check, a takes b5. Now black is up a piece, that is up a whole queen. So you take back with check on d8. You take on d8. Black plays rook takes d8. Now white's got a knight hanging on e5.
So you're saying a6.
I think that looks like the only move. Black is going to survive a little bit. He's going to have a bad game.
So a6 and then c7 is the move, right?
And then take on b5.
Right.
White takes on d8 with check.
And
then rook takes d8.
And then king takes d1.
Yeah, white can take on d1, but then black takes on e5. So, but you know, white's much better. Pawns, white's going to be up going to be able to take that pawn at b5. Yeah, it's good for white no matter what happens, I think, here.
And
that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, stick to it, Paul. Don't give it up. Here we go. Look at this game with Eric Lee and William Sartorio. Had some exchanges.
So he took on f6, and then he's played a5. Or maybe he played, I'm not sure exactly how he got here, but anyway, white has some pressure, better pawn structure. I don't know if white's gotten a lot out of this, to tell you the truth.
Probably thought would get a little more than.
Yeah, if black just castles, I mean, there's a weak pawn at e5, but maybe black can start ganging up on b2, you know, with rook d2 or something.
Let's go back to board one here and
not convinced that this is any good for white. Ooh, the dreaded endgame, a pawn down against the grandmaster variation. Well, I mean, what does white have? White has the two bishops and the possibility of opening the game up for those bishops, and the possibility of an outside pass pawn.
Do you think that it was the intention to be at this point, even still a pawn down, but to arrive at this position, or did something go wrong?
Well, I mean, I can see how this happened. I don't think anything has particularly gone wrong for white. I mean, white has chances to hold the game or even to win the game, you know, in a position like this. I'm not sure that, there might have been the plan to advance the G pawn and the H pawn. This direct method of going after F7 is not probably enough. I would say.
And let's
But
take a look.
this is a long struggle still ahead. If I was white, I think I would have tried to play G4 and H4 or something like that. Something different than this.
Going, interesting. Going, taking a look at the Guseyanov Boldy game. And for those watching and following, in 2 weeks, on the weekend of January 30th through the 31st, the Mechanics Institute is organizing the U.S. Amateur Team West Championship. It's going to be
Wow.
the first of the amateur team tournaments. They're going to happen in over 4 weeks at the end of January through February. Um, we expect to have over 60 teams participating. A lot of great teams, a lot of fun teams. So check out the link that is in the chat. If you do not have a team, register as an individual and we will find a team for you. It's a lot of fun. And if you haven't been a part of that, that is certainly an experience to enjoy and be a part of, particularly this year with the online version. We even have Jennifer Yu has a team playing in the
Oh, very cool.
Amateur West, and I know we're going to have teams from Berkeley and hopefully Berkeley Chess School fields a team. They're the defending champs of the West.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, we were there. That was the last big tournament we organized last year. We had like 270 players.
And Hosea was on the winning team there, wasn't he?
No, he was not.
Oh, that's right. He came and visited.
That's right, because he couldn't play because of something. He
That's
played one
right.
round. He played one round for UC Berkeley.
Round, yeah, yeah.
I played one round for UC Berkeley.
That was the tournament where Juan Sendejas saved the day, right? By fixing the DGT.
Yeah, what happened was we initially had started, we had put the DGT boards, and we had 20 of them. We had put the DGT boards on a metal table, and it was messing the signals completely. And he realized that, and with the help of several people, we switched the tables out to regular plastic, and then everything was fine. It was perfect. So yeah, it was a phenomenal event. We were broadcasting, and we had 20 DGT boards. You and Nick were doing the live commentary, and it was a whole lot of fun. Back when chess with that many players was something that can be done.
Yeah.
Without raising controversy.
Amazing. Now 2 people can't play without, but there's this Tata Steel tournament going on.
Yeah.
So there's hope.
It's fun to see, events like that happening. Check out this position. This is.
I just want to say that Ethan has some real chances here.
Yeah, his position looks. His pieces are flowing and they're connected, and we'll keep an eye on that. This is Arthur Liu, who is has TD'd some events for mechanics, and he's actually going to be one of the TDs also at the Amateur West. And he's playing white against Chelsea Zhu.
Well, this is, typical kind of dragon or sort of formation here. Black might be losing a pawn in the middle of the board, but the queen ready to spring out to A5.
Wow. Let me switch to that game we were talking about earlier with Guseyanov. This was the position just a few moves ago.
So Black played D4. Now, I was thinking Black should maybe have thought about going Rook takes F2. But Black is transposing into an endgame. I mean, Rook C2 is natural here for White.
Right. Has to.
And then I'm just, I'm wondering what black is going to do long term. If I was black, there was that possibility of taking on f2. Black has had some interesting forks in the road here and roads not traveled in this game. This has been a fine game. It's interesting. During the chess cafe, Gusenev came up because Walter and Elliot have played him a bunch of times now.
Yeah.
And the first thing they were talking, well, the thing that they were mainly talking about was his openings, his suspect openings, or what they called suspect openings. And I remember Chiron also missed a win sort of out of the opening against Kuznetsov.
Right.
It's very true.
And actually, there was a game at the Donaldson Championship where Alan Finkelstein drew him because he blundered in an opening area. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is this Gusenev is in this way, he's a player after my own heart, He plays these systems, he knows them very well, but we're getting raided.
Fantastic.
Wow, thank you, Daniel Naroditsky.
All right, Daniel Naroditsky with
we have to up our game.
Significant raid. Thank you very much, Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky. And if you are just joining us, this is round 3 of the Tuesday night marathon at the Mechanics Institute. And thank you, Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky, who's basically used to live at the Mechanics Institute.
We seem to have we gotten cut off here?
Nope.
Oh, I'm missing my
And welcome to the Mechanics Institute, everyone. Round 3 of the Tuesday night marathon you are watching. And let's go to board 1, which is National Master Rouyan Yan playing Grandmaster Alexander Lenderman. And she was down a pawn. But look at this. He's got 2 sets of doubled pawns now.
I'll be right.
So everyone, we are at the Mechanics Institute Tuesday night marathon. 66 players. The games are manually paired by us on chess.com. And this is our board 1 with Alexander Lenderman and Rouyan Yan playing round 3 of 6. 2 rounds tonight. First one.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah, so here's Lenderman versus Rouyan.
And so what do you think of the position?
I think that
and make sure
she's got some drawing chances here for sure, despite being still a pawn down now. Bishops of opposite colors.
And if you like what you're watching, please go ahead and follow us. And you'll get notifications for our Tuesday night marathon and all our special events. So follow us at the Mechanics Institute. And
I think if anybody can hear me but can't see, I think our feed froze, and just refresh the page.
Yeah, mine was continuing. Yeah, maybe we can't handle the bandwidth, but Daniel broke the Twitch.
We broke the Twitch thanks to.
But so now Lenderman's pushing away over here.
Right, he's gonna get in f4 before White could play. Stop this. So now there's going to be a sort of some switching over to the h file, but this could still end in a draw here. Is bishop f2 better than bishop e1? Because now rook h8. Now
what about here?
I think
what about h4?
Holding this.
What about h4 right here? Or is that crazy? No, h4 because of g4, yeah?
Every h4, g4, but, you know, White's inching towards a draw here. It's, you know, it's possible. Still black for choice here. H3 is the stubborn move. Now if G4, maybe H4, or taking on G4 then. Takes on H3, takes on F4, or even pawn E6 may be possible there.
And Rui's time is kind of draining away. Let's
She has time though.
yeah, still.
This is interesting, with still some a lot of play left here.
And let's go to board 2, which is Grandmaster Gadir Guseynov playing Ethan Boldy. Now we're at this position where Guseynov sort of kind of alleviated a lot of the pressure, but are we?
This is going to be tricky. I mean, black could, what black would like, I suppose, is to sort of get the d pawn going, but then there's the issue of knight c5 here, and a lot of play here for white.
Let's take a look on board 3, which
I prefer white here. As white's better here.
This is FIDE master Eric Yuhan Lee playing white against William Sartorio. Look at that rook on e3 there.
Yeah, white's for choice here, though. Black could land some kind of shot.
Let me do a check-in on board 4. This game between
Queen b5 maybe.
Mike Walder and Elliot Winslow.
The theoretical battle.
What do you think of that?
I think that this is bread and butter to these guys. A wild Sicilian here. Let's see.
White's in check.
Yeah, if king b1, can white play king b1? Queen f5. Queen f5. No, I don't think white has. Oh yeah, sure, white can do that. Trade, and then knight g5. King b1, queen f5, queen f5, ef5, knight g5, bishop e6, knight c7 check, and knight a8. Yes. I think white can just play king b1, and then looks like black is not under any direct threat, but it's a scary, scary position.
Hey, funny thing, going back to that game we were looking at earlier, a6 was played by black, and so white is currently up a pawn, but as you can see, white has the better position. But kudos to black for finding the
yeah, black got out of this really well, I think.
Let me
the pawn down, but he's definitely got some chances now.
Going back to board 1 with Rouyan Yan and Alex Lenderman.
Survive this.
Black has taken on h3 with the bishop.
Wow. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's quite a brilliant move. So this is how black is trying to upset the balance here. That's a very nice shot. So takes rook h3, and I suppose there's no way out of the predicament. Bishop e1.
But why can't you just take the... Wow, look at that.
Takes rook h3. So now black plays bishop e6, and white has less chances. But
What do you do here? Like king f2 or something?
yeah, white's passively placed here. This is part of the problem.
Yeah.
But and the black king can now run in, like, try to run into b5 and c4, and white has to watch out for that. Black has made a lot of bishop h3 enabled black to sort of set up a nice position here, risk free. g5 and g4 will always be an idea. Bishops of opposite colors, but this is favoring black big time.
And for those of you watching, if you look in the Twitch chat, we have our own Discord, so you can just click on that and you can chat with us and chat about what the action going on.
This is a very famous tournament. It's been
yeah, tell us the history, because you were literally there almost at the beginning.
Yeah, it started in 1972 during the Fischer-Spassky boom by the chess club director at the time, Raymond Conway. It really was a marathon at the beginning, 12 rounds with adjournments and everything. Its modern version is what, 8 rounds or 6 rounds or
Depending.
7 rounds or 9 rounds or
Depends.
Yeah. And it's online now, but it's uninterrupted since 1972. And Daniel Naroditsky played in this tournament when he was a kid, and so did Sam Shanklin, and so did I, and a long time ago, and Hans Niemann, and other, Elliot Winslow has won this tournament a whole bunch of times. It's held 4 or 5 times a year, 5 or 6 times a year, or
8 times
now a zillion times a year.
Actually, yeah, go ahead.
And now we have Lenderman and Gusenev playing in it. And we've had Patrick Wolf play in it. And it's just an amazing tournament that will never end. I think.
A true marathon. Let's check in on Ethan Boldy, see how he's doing against Guseyanov here.
Look at this king b8 on Lenderman. Lenderman plays simple positions so well. If you want to learn something about chess, just watch Lenderman's technique. It's just extraordinary. White has all the, plus cards here with the blockaded pawn. If black could exchange the bishop for the knight, maybe. But this is kind of got one of those thematic looks to it. But kudos to Ethan Boldy for keeping this game going. There were a lot of interesting points in this game where black had other alternatives, and this is still going on.
And still a long way to go in that game. Going back to board 1.
Yeah, so Lenderman's put his king over on the queen side rather than bringing it into the center. I guess he doesn't want to allow white to play c4. And so the king went over to the queen side. And now the rook is coming down, and it seems to me that, well, the white rook at f3 is not well placed. If I'm white, I would like to trade maybe one pair of rooks and then, or something, some way to get some activity here.
And Eric Lee got it done in his game against William Sartorio.
Interesting. Okay. The comeback kid.
Yeah, he's gonna win another pawn there, and it's just gonna be a slow grind.
Right.
So
Interesting. Yeah.
Eric Lee
Yeah.
at three out
Discouraging.
of three, 3 out of 3 for Eric Lee.
Wow. He's going to get fed to the wolves.
The
Yeah.
only thing I'm looking at Rui's clock here, though, she's down to like 5.5 minutes.
Yeah. And in a defensive kind of situation, this is White's best chance is to blow open the queen side, I think. And this is the only thing that Lenderman needs to really worry about here as he puts the screws on in this position. Is White playing b5 and trying to swing the rook over to the a file or something like that, and setting up the rook coming in with c3 to c7, or White has to try these kind of things.
And just really quick for everyone still with us watching our Tuesday night marathon for the Mechanics Institute, I was being interviewed by the gentleman who is continued Shelby Lyman's column.
Oh wow, who is that?
I think his name was Larry Striegel, and he was asking me this morning about our Tuesday night marathon and what happened during pandemic uh, and I said the Tuesday night marathon has been going continuously since 72, and even during pandemic we kept going with our Tuesday nights. I mean, we didn't have the marathon because Rated Chess stopped, right? But we still had a Tuesday night event that we streamed and kept doing it. We used to call it Tuesday Night Online.
Right, sure.
And then when Rated Chess got introduced, thanks in part to Judith Starre, who's one of the authors of the online rules to chess, we started doing that and doing what we're doing now with our Tuesday Night Marathon rated play. So interesting that we kept everything together.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I feel um, watching and participating in these online events and so on, that the club is still open. It's amazing. We have the same. There are people that we haven't heard from, of course, but there are plenty that we have heard from,
Oh,
and
they're
there's
playing.
new people joining the community. So it's really it's a virtual chess club. It's a real brick and mortar chess club, and it will return to that again, of course. The oldest chess club in the United States, and it'll continue to be that. And we're part of history here.
And this event on Tuesday night, we are there on Tuesday nights. We have like over 100 people playing, 10 DGT boards. We would be broadcasting the tournament, and Paul would be doing the commentary. Judith and I would be doing the tournament directing, and just a whole lot of fun on Tuesday nights. And we're looking forward to coming back and doing it again, hopefully soon in 2021.
Yeah. And speaking of which, Rui is close to drawing this game. I mean, the very close to drawing this, unless there's something coming up with G3 check that I'm missing here. Maybe bishop f5 and bishop to e4 now for black. It's very close. White is very close to drawing this game here.
She just has to make sure that the time doesn't work against her, right?
See, G3 check is not going to work here, I don't think. King f3, rook f1, king e2, and then rook moves, and the king can come back up to f3 even, and that bishop on d4 is doing really great. Black is close to some really good here, but so what about bishop f5? And white could maybe play e6 if bishop f5 to play a quick bishop e5 check and bishop takes f4. And these line clearing sacrifices are very common and good often in these kinds of positions. So I predict a draw.
Wow. Okay.
I'm going to predict a draw. Lenderman, I want Roy to hold this, and I think he can.
And she's capable. She's a very strong player. She's a bronze medalist at the World Youth. Check this position here with Arthur Liu and Chelsea Zhu.
And I have to say, this is not totally human. It's all too human analysis half the time. Look at this.
And Chelsea, who's playing black, has got 2 minutes, 40 seconds. Arthur's got all the time in the world.
Wow. Well, White's probably close to winning this here. White has to pick up the A pawn and then the B pawn and then the F pawn and
and then the rook, and then that's it.
Yeah, and then
that's all you need to do. So we'll keep an eye on this one, but look at the other GM. Actually, well, this is David Askin and Guy Argo. We'll keep an eye on that. But let's go to Boldy and Gusayanov here. And Boldy's got to just be wary of his time.
Yeah, this is tough for black, though.
Yeah.
It's tough for black with the bishop operating very nicely, but but very possibly holdable.
It just has to be precise.
Yeah, I mean, don't give up that e5 pawn too easily. If you do have to give up the e5 pawn, make sure you get something solid for it. That's my advice to black here.
Check out this position. This is board 1 in the under 1800 section. With
the kids are really giving the grandmasters a tough time tonight.
Right, and they got a whole nother round to go, and at least one kid in Eric Yuhan Lee is certainly going to be playing up with 3 out of 3.
This does not look good for White, who's down 2 bishops.
Oh, he's down like a whole ton of stuff. So why?
Big snoring.
Here we're back to board 1 to see if Rui's going to be able to hold this.
I predict she would, but we'll see. I'm going out on a limb.
But 2.5 minutes left.
White plays pawn to b6 and says to black, what are you going to do? Oh, white plays g3. Okay, going for the super blockade here. So after f3, which is black's got to be only winning try. Now, can black get through here? I'm going to say no, but and that pawn on b6 is a monster as well. Now just king e3, king f2. What can...
And Rui has offered the draw.
Oh, there's no point in doing that. There's no point in doing that.
And Lenderman declined the draw.
Of course.
For those of you that don't know Paul,
we've talked about the art of the draw offer to the Grandmaster is just something you all got to learn. Just don't do it. Make them offer the draw. That's the only way you can play against these guys.
And speaking of the draw, Elliot and Mike Walder have agreed to a draw.
Oh, that's great. That's a good result. They're housemates and they've played each other 10 million times. I'm interested in the post-mortem on that game. There must be, you know,
What about King F4 here? Is there a
what
reason
to
not?
play.
Oh no, why would you do that?
That's kind of risky. I
No.
mean, if I'm white, just King F2, King E3.
Well, I wasn't seeing that the bishop on D7 is guarding the
Yeah, we
G4
should,
pawn.
and Alexi's saying thanks for the draw result report in the Walter game.
Sure, sure. She's following
That
close.
that would have been the game of the day if it weren't for the Rouyan Yan game.
This looks like really tough for black to break through.
I think it's impossible for black to break through. I mean,
And
that would be my guess.
and black is going to make her work for it
Oh,
because she only
sure.
has a minute and a half left.
Sure. So where's the opportunity for black is probably with rook c1 and then coming back around on the other side. I mean, white can slip up here, of course. So rook c1, here we go. But is there any way to break the blockade? Ah, yes. Rook e1 check, and if king f4, rook e4 check followed by, this is dangerous here.
And another game we were following, the knight and bishop of Arthur Liu did end up winning that game against Chelsea.
Yeah. Okay, so Lenderman is now faced with losing the g4 pawn.
No, Rui played king e3.
Right. But now rook f1 or rook g1. Then was white able to get in with rook c2? Yeah, white is very glad to have that pawn at b6, I think. That might save white in some of these positions, the counterplay. This is interesting. So what happens on rook g1? King f4? Now Lenderman can't, I guess, couldn't do that. So now if I see there's another possibility, something like rook a2, f2, king e2, rook d4. But that's going to be probably a draw too. Yeah, this is still let's see. Rook a, okay, so now pawn f2. King e2, rook d4.
Just rook d4 first.
Yes. Rook d4.
Yeah.
This is oh.
Yeah, there was no sense, right? Because you go rook a1.
Yeah.
Promote, take.
Missed that. Yeah. I have a feeling I thought that she could find a way to blockade the position, but I could be, maybe I'm wrong. It was difficult.
Yeah, black was
Black broke the blockade with the sacrifice.
Very tough, but a tough fight by Rouyan against.
It's possible she's in Zhuang here. Oh no, king f2. King f2.
Right. Yeah, that would have worked.
Yeah, instead of rook a2.
Yeah.
And it still looks like it's equal.
Going back to this game here, Guseyanov and Boldy.
Wow, is right.
Boldy's done well here. It is
Okay, but the threat is to attack the knight and then scoop up the pawns on the queen side. If black can draw this, he's going to have to show a lot of resourceful. This is tough. There have been some really tough games here, Abel.
It's nice that in round 3, the resistance is put up by our players here.
Right.
And thank you, everyone, for following the Mechanics Institute Tuesday night marathon. If you haven't done it already, please follow us, and you'll be made aware when we have our events, our interviews.
Oh, look what happened. Ethan fell for a trick.
Yeah.
And loses as well.
Because if the king would have pushed up, takes on b4.
Yeah. Yikes. Well, White was seriously probably winning chances there.
Well, going back, taking a look at Steve Gaffigan playing white against Nicholas Wang. Nicholas looks like
Gautier pulls it off, the win off. The Grandmaster squeaked by. How did they do that?
Look at this position here. This is I believe it's Daniel Lin against Christian Jensen. Lin playing white.
Wow. White is on the attack here, threatening bishop f8 check. So what about bishop g2? Queen h4?
Like, king can't even move. You do like bishop.
Black seems to be in trouble. Unless, let's see, queen g1, bishop f1. No, it's not going to work. Like you said, black, queen g2, queen h4. I think black's busted here. Coming up is bishop f8 check.
But then can't you do bishop g2?
Well, then queen h4. Oh, I see. So queen g1 check. What about bishop f1? Then bishop g2. Queen takes g2. No. Okay, so king g2, queen f2 check, king c3. Yeah, the mechanics kids are tough.
They fight back over in San Francisco. And the Mechanics Institute Chess Club is in downtown San Francisco, for those that don't know. And if you haven't been there, you have to come. I mean, it is as old school looking as it gets. I mean, it's like being in history, walking through that.
Yeah, there are pictures on the internet, of course.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of Capablanca playing at the club.
Yeah.
As well as Caruana.
And Alekhine, we just found that game.
Alekhine at the club, Smyslov, Petrosian,
Karpov,
Tal, Karpov,
Fischer.
Fischer. We don't have a photograph of Fischer, unfortunately.
Whitehead, Starray, Talamantes.
Talamantes.
DeFermian.
Yeah, DeFermian. Lombardi. Bill Addison was the chess club director at one time, international master, played in 2 interzonals.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Well, at least one that I know of. I think.
And David Askin defeats Guy Argo here. Going back to the Nicholas Wang game here.
I think you can become a grandmaster later on in life. I didn't do it, but I didn't try very hard. But
and you had a conversation with Fabiano Caruana, didn't you, at the club where you're talking about people that can play at a high level at an older age.
Yeah, he thought that it was eminently possible, and I think he's right. I mean, um, we may find one of these players. It could be Caruana himself. Will be playing in the top, 10 when he's 60 years old. I mean, it's very possible. Carlson too. I mean, um, right now there's not too many players over 50 in the top 100, but that could change with this crop of players are likely to stay very strong. Caruana didn't seem to think it was any problem. He was going to be tremendous no matter how old he was.
And Vishy Anand playing at an exceptionally high level, a little bit older in age.
Yeah, I think the key is just understanding chess as a language and as the way it's supposed to be played in the way that so easy for kids to grasp and difficult for older people who are less flexible in their thinking. I think the key is the flexibility.
Right. Like we're set in our ways.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes it more difficult.
Exactly.
7:37 is the time. We have a few more games going with a few minutes left. The fourth round of the Tuesday Night Marathon will start at 8 p.m. Games manually paired by Chief TD Dr. Judith Starr.
Now, Korchnoi was playing, as far as I know, a world championship match in his 40s. I mean, that's extraordinary against Karpov. And so, yeah. It's funny, we were just talking about Anand, how come we haven't seen him online? And Nick and I were looking during the Chess Cafe, we're talking about Anand, and Anand is the one player that seems to be missing from the online chess thing that Carlson and all these other people are involved in.
And Alexei's in the chat. Gelfand and Anand were in their 40s.
Right.
And how's this game look here? This is Gaffigan and Nicholas Wang.
Carbon 64 is Gaffigan.
Yeah.
Gaffigan's a player that can't be underestimated, and the pressure was enabled him to win a pawn here.
And so he's.
And this looks like a mistake. Queen E6. Can White take and play Bishop F1? Oh, Bishop C8. Okay. Well, White's better for sure. The bishops.
And at least in live play, I've seen Gaffigan play quick, so I know
Bishop F1 right away might be the move here.
Fiery Griffin, Bishop F1 is liking that.
Yeah.
Bishop F1 here in this position. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just a handful of games left in the round. 66 players in our Tuesday Night Marathon. And stay with us because at 8 p.m., round 4 of the Tuesday Night Marathon, and we're going to have a very intriguing matchup, I think, possibly on the top board. Yeah. I think we might see possibly Eric Lee and Lenderman playing in round 4. We'll see. We'll see if it works out that way.
Queen C5 is a tricky move with a Queen F8 check threat. King G7, then Bishop F1. This is tough for Black. still.
Yeah, it seems like one move.
Yeah, is Lenderman going to play Gusenev?
No, I don't. I don't think so. Uh,
No,
I
they
think
wouldn't.
I think Eric Lee would play Lenderman. I think. Um, but we'll
Yeah, I'm
see.
not sure what Carbon 64 has hit upon anything yet here. So
Well,
the game goes on.
he got to even material, which is good. The
Yeah.
question is
Does he
can you
realize
get
that he now
more?
has the advantage?
Can you get more?
Yeah. So what is this the final game that we're watching here?
No. There's
And now Gaffigan gets in, queen takes a6. This is very bad for Nicholas. He's been outplayed. He really has been outplayed.
yeah. He took advantage of the time pressure, and Nicholas.
And
made a couple
also just the difficult nature of the position. He couldn't figure it out. This is now black on the ropes here.
seconds left. 20 seconds for Nicholas Wang. A little under a minute for Stephen Gaffigan. And
This is very depressing.
Black has resigned.
Yeah, bishop c5 is unstoppable.
Yep.
Yeah,
Tough game and nice win by Steve Gaffigan.
absolutely.
And there's a couple. Here's one of the last games going. I think Ayan Zaman's about to close the deal here. No easy way out. There's not enough checks either.
Wow. I didn't expect this to happen in this game. In the brief glimpse that I had of it earlier.
Yep. And there's another game still going, but that one's going to end soon. I think we're going to have the end of the round happening pretty soon.
Wow. And we'll have more Grandmaster games coming up.
At 8 p.m. Actually, this is one of the longer rounds, actually, because the rounds usually finish like around 7:40, like slightly before.
Right. This one's still going on.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know, our chief tournament director, Judith Stare, who is our general manager of youth outreach and events at the Mechanics Institute, pairs the games manually on chess.com. And she is doing a ton of work behind the scenes, making sure all the games run smooth, games get paired, update the results, put the pairings out. So she does a lot behind the scenes that people don't see. And so thank you, Judith, for all that you do.
I was looking at an old California chess reporter, and apparently back in the 50s or 60s, they had a computer pair, some computer program paired the tournament with some bizarre results.
And hey, Davy Chess is rating with 23. Thank you. We're getting a lot of love here.
I know.
Dominique Myers, thank you for
you catching the final seconds of round 3.
The final seconds, literally, of round 3 of the Mechanics Institute Tuesday night marathon. Grandmaster Alexander Lenderman, and there it is, Ayan Zaman, and Grandmaster Gadir Guseynov got pushed by the kids. And they made it tough, but they got the win. So round 8 will start at 8 p.m. Stick around. the pairings should be coming up soon. The updated standings. You can follow this link shortly, as I'm going to be putting it up, and then you can find out the pairings and updated standings as soon as we get it. There is the link in the chat. I think we might see Eric Lee and Lenderman play, which
That'd be a great matchup.
which is a great matchup to watch. And let's see who Gadir gets. Possibly Elliot Winslow. Who knows?
These guys are taking their shots, and Lenderman, Gadir is looking more vulnerable than Lenderman in general, but Lenderman's had his shaky moments too. Not very often, though. Not very often.
And I'm just pulling that. This was the end of the Rui Lenderman game. And this is the thing to watch about the style of these young players, especially these master or expert young kids, is that they play with aggression and they're going for the win. Or at least they're trying to seize an opportunity, which is a lot of fun to watch, rather than play passively and try to get, hold a draw or do something like that. They're taking their shot at the title, so to speak.
Yeah, Ethan had his chances in that game. That was an interesting game too. And here, instead of Rook A2, if Roy had played King F2, I'm not so certain that Alexander would have found a way in.
And I think only Lenderman, Gadir, and Eric Lee are the only ones with 3 points.
Okay. So it'll be Lenderman versus Gadir. Versus Eric Lee, and then
I think Lenderman will have white against Eric Lee, and Gadir is gonna have could he play Elliot possibly?
Elliot, if who's ever the highest ranked, yeah. I'm gonna get a drink of water.
Yeah.
And I'll see everybody in a little bit.
And for those of you still watching, as we're waiting for the updated standings and the pairings for the next round, which will start at 8 p.m., do not forget that the Mechanics Institute is organizing the 2021 U.S. Amateur Team West Championship. It is not limited to those who live in the West. Anyone can participate. All are welcome. So if you want to get in on the first of the amateur team tournaments happening this year, all of them are going to be online, but we are the first, January 30th through the 31st. Follow that link that is in the chat. And you don't have to have a 4-player team to participate. If you're an individual that wants to play in the tournament, we will help you. We'll place you on a team. We're going to have a lot of individual entries, so don't let that stop you. There is a individual entry option. So check out that information and register January 30th through the 31st. Game in 60 plus 10 is the time control, 3 rounds a day online on chess.com. Games will be manually paired, and we will broadcast the rounds live with Grandmaster Nick DeFermian and FIDE Master Paul Whitehead. So check out On the Action and register for the U.S. Amateur Team West, January 30th through the 31st. And we are waiting for the updated standings. As you can see, FIDE Master Kyron Griffith is in the tournament, but took 2 half-point buys for today because he just finished playing an IM Norm tournament in Charlotte and tied for first and got his second IM Norm. Congratulations to FIDE Master Kyron Griffith. 1 Norm away from getting the 3 he needs for the IM title, and then just needs to cross the 2400 rating barrier. And it looks like the last game just finished. And And in a couple of minutes, we should have the updated standings and pairings. And definitely congratulations to Kyron for that second I Am Norm. And we were talking frequently with all the players that he's been playing at the Mechanics Institute over the past year, and the tough games and the top level talent. We knew he would be ready when he started playing Norm events because he was looking in strong form, and it's good to see it actually happen at the tournament. So we're rooting for him to get the third one as soon as he can and get that done. And hey, Richard, thanks for hanging with us. You know, that draw between Elliot Winslow and Walder really sort of kind of opened the tournament up. So with only 3 players with perfect scores at the top, it'll make the final rounds next week with some tough matches also. So I'm trying to see if we're going to get the Lenderman Eric Lee game, which I think will be a phenomenal game to watch. And seeing if, possibly we get Guseyanov and Winslow. And Winslow is drawn Guseyanov, and you could argue he was even in a better position when he got that draw. So, and if you want to join us in the chat on Discord, I think you can go there and chat away. I actually just learned that platform during the Pan American Intercollegiate, which we organized also. A lot of fun to go in there and start chatting away. And
Do you need to step away for a minute, Abel?
yeah, I'll probably get something to drink, but I sort of want to wait till the pairings go up so I can start yakking about those.
Okay, then I'll tell you what. I'll be back again.
You go do what you need to do. Paul taking advantage of me right there. Well played by FIDE Master Paul. That's why he's a master. All right, 3 standings have been updated. Wow, and Lenderman is playing Guseyanov on board 1. Mike Walder's playing Eric Lee on 2. Elliot Winslow against Arthur Liu. David Askin and Rouyan. Let's actually let me just go to that page. I think it'll be a lot easier if I do that. And here we go. So here are the pairings for the next round. And Lenderman Guseyanov on board 1. So this will be a fun one to follow. Mike Walder and Eric Lee on board 2. Elliot Winslow and Arthur Liu. David Askin and Rui board 4, and so forth and so forth. The William Sartorio and Nathan Fong match is an interesting one, as is Tejas Mahesh and Steve Gaffigan, Nitish and Jonah Bush. Fantastic matches. And in the under 1800 section, Aaron Nikowski and Ethan Sun on board 1. Nicholas Brown and Sebi Suarez. He's a tough young player. And yeah, so we'll follow the action as it comes. But all eyes will be on board 1 between Alex Lenderman and Gadir Guseyanov. And the GM clash happening on board 4. Yeah, fantastic. And Eric Lee playing black against Michael Walder, so it'll be that'll be a tough match. They've had to have faced each other at mechanics during the TNMs. Wondering how those games went. I think Eric Lee has gotten the better of those meetings. But we shall see. 5 minutes before the start of round 4 in the Tuesday night marathon. Yes, this was definitely a long round. We usually have a good 10 minutes or so between the rounds, but yeah, we only got like a few minutes. And Mike Walder in the chat. Oh, of your matches against Eric Lee, you won the last one and drew the one before, so you actually have a winning record against Eric Lee, which is pretty good. Reika Starry's game was the last game of the round. Wow. Hey, Paul, do you need to leave for 5 minutes real quick?
What?
Do you need to go 5 minutes?
No, I'm back for the rest of the round.
All right. Lenderman Gusainov.
Really?
Yeah. Board
How
one.
come?
With Lenderman as white.
Wow.
Mike Walder against Eric Lee. And who's Elliot?
Lenderman versus Gusainov. That's quite a pairing.
Elliot Winslow and Arthur Liu, and that should be a great match. David Askin and Rui.
So they dropped the low. That's the way that that Judith decided to do it tonight, huh?
Yeah, and it's set that way already.
No, I'm just.
She's the chief TD, right? I'm just I'm the admin guy here, so she knew it a little bit better. But good for us and good for all the viewers.
Yeah, it's going to be. I hope these guys give us a show.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, so for everyone still watching, you're going to have the GMs do battle in round 4, and
coming right up. Yeah, actually, Judith, we want you to pair Walder versus Winslow again.
Yeah, just alternate the colors.
Every round, Walder Winslow.
We'll just say it's fair. So 3 minutes before the start of the round, and
very dramatic.
So Paul, I will be. Let me get something to drink. I'll be right back.
Sure. Well, thanks everybody for joining us here at the round 4 of the Tuesday night marathon. Tradition at the Mechanics Institute Chess Club in San Francisco since 1972. And I joined the club. I actually played in the second marathon in late 1972, 73. I guess it might have straddled the year. After joining the club with my brother Jay, who became an international master and played in 2 U.S. championships. He won the U.S. Junior Closed and the U.S. Junior Open, and played in the World Cadet Championship of 1977, finishing second to Arneson, and the only American player ever to finish ahead of Garry Kasparov in a chess tournament. So anyway, he and I joined the club back in the early 70s, part of the Fisher boom. And it was a lot different place then than it turned into. There were, to join the club, you had to be vouched for by 2 other mechanics members, and membership dues were $5 a year, which was probably pretty cheap for 1972. Yeah, downtown San Francisco. And smoking was allowed at the club. Many people smoked cigarettes down at the club, and I started joining them in the cigarette department after a certain point. I mean, I joined when I was 12. I wasn't smoking then, but eventually I did, and I actually enjoyed a cigarette with Mikhail Tal at the club once. The highlight of my chess career, playing in a blitz tournament at the Mechanics Institute and having Tal light my cigarette.
That's the highlight.
Yeah, sure.
That's a great highlight.
Yeah. And somebody's asking, what's the fee now to join the club?
Well, you don't join the chess club. You join the Mechanics Institute as a whole. So it's $120 for the whole year, and you get borrowing privileges at our amazing library, access to special events. We have a cinema lit, we have author events, um, all of that stuff. So it's a steal actually for that price, $120 for like the whole year. So definitely worth it. And if you play any of our events, there's discounts entry because we have a member rate and a non-member rate. So it definitely pays for itself, especially if you um, play several events. And you don't even need to play that many events to realize the savings. So um, I I would definitely become a member because membership has its privileges. And if you're looking to join the Mechanics Institute or want to learn more about everything we have to offer, because we're not just a chess club, we're a cultural arts center, library, 9 stories in downtown San Francisco, with the fourth floor being the greatest chess club in the history of the world, the Mechanics Institute.
But even if you live in England, you can still come in every day and play in the club if you'd like.
That's right. Now that we're virtual, so if you want to join the institute, it is in the chat. If you do become a member, mention that you were referred to by Chess, because referral credit does happen. And here we go.
Tal played this move once against Portish a long time ago.
The Bishop F5.
Bishop F5.
Is
Yeah.
it-
In fact, y'all, who's ever watching this should one day look that game up. I'm not sure what year it was played in, sometime in the mid 60s. And it's a famous game of an example of Tal swindling Portish into a draw by sacking piece after piece after piece. I think at the end he had probably only half a pawn or something like that, but he still managed to force a draw. It's a famous game. Black got into trouble right in the opening, and I think Portish played d5 here, and which is what Lenderman's playing.
And do you think this is going to be like a quick draw, or are they clearly we're going to play and see where this goes?
I think Lenderman's going to play. Sure. This is Bishop F5 is a suspect reputation. On the other hand, Gusenev is the kind of player he knows his systems. And he's gonna. You notice Black puts the bishop on f5, and he actually doesn't mind White playing e4 in this line, and that's because that'll block the White bishop at g2. However, that's not to say that e4 is a bad move. It's just that Black's not so worried about White playing e4. Yeah, and I don't know what the theory is here. I'm sure there is some theory about this. And the thing about Lenderman that we know is that he's a theoretician. He was the second to the Olympiad team, the winning Olympiad team. And he was a second to the U.S. Team recently. So he's a theoretician, and he's in the U.S. Championship. and he'll know he knows his openings.
And
Scary player to play against.
Acrotic 399 is says he plays this line as white, and it says the problem is if you don't play e4, it's hard to know where to put your pieces.
Yeah, I mean, Gusenev just slams out c6, and that just, that's probably already slightly odd. I mean, usually Black would play c5, I think, to prevent b4. But now this, White. Okay, so White switches up and takes on c6. So he's got no intention of playing pawn e4 now, I think. Although, prove me wrong, but White will play e4 here. And now the White knight looks kind of funny on d2. So, and again, like I said, White's reluctant to play e4 because it blocks his own bishop. So maybe already Gusenev has kind of had a little sort of a moral victory here out of the opening.
And there's talk in the chat in the previous move. I think if we're looking at, we go back to here, why didn't White play b4?
Yeah, there's problems on the diagonal, and actually, but that might be possible because. But
doesn't Black take on c4?
Well, then knight takes c4.
Ah, the knight's
Yeah, but there's some issues maybe with Black moving his knight on f6, uncovering on the knight on c3. And undoubtedly, it's been studied by Gadir. So, and that's usually why Black plays c5. So there is the question of why White maybe could have tried b4.
And
I'm not exactly positive, but
and b3 has just been played.
Yeah. All right. So this is, this is another story.
So let's check out this game between Elliot Winslow and Arthur Liu out of Najdorf.
Okay, so it's in Najdorf, and White's played bishop to d3. Played bishop to d3, one of the many moves, 6 moves that White can play against a Najdorf. One of the more unusual moves. And Black plays b5, a4, b4, knight d5. This is all very consistent. So White's trying to sort of get a grip on the light squares with this, and maybe trying to show that this move b5 was possibly a little premature. And I think this is a double-edged strategy for Black. The queen side's a little loose, and the c6, and there's a c6 square.
Checking on game here between Rouyan playing Black against David Askin. It's funny because this matchup is something we would see in the live Tuesday night marathon, right?
Well, if you like attacking formations, you might like Black, who can pawn storm the king side. And the battle lines are drawn here. It's going to be queen side versus king side here. And we'll see what Black can make of it. Black needs to play a quick f5, f4, something like that. And White's going to storm the queen side.
Going back to board one, let's...
Yeah, is Eric playing?
Yes. Actually, where is...
We haven't seen his game yet, I think. He must be playing on board 2.
And Lenderman offered a draw right now.
Maybe we are going to see but Gadir refused?
Nope, they agreed.
They agreed to a draw. Grandmasters.
They do that.
They do that.
Actually, here it is right here. This is Walder and Eric Lee. Look at this game.
Okay, those grandmasters. Oh, okay. Wow. Michael Walter is always going to try to punch you out.
And this is
this is looking
Nydorf also.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing white is a exchange down, but black's pieces are all on the back rank here.
Yeah, I wonder.
This has got to be good for white, I would reckon.
Going back a few moves just to kind of see how we got here.
Michael Walter knows his opening theory, that's for sure.
Look at that. Castles.
Right? Oh, so knight d7, and this is, wow, look at this piece sack.
That's
very nice. I mean, Michael Walter is an extremely sharp player.
Wow, look at.
So what happened? Refused the sacrifice. Okay. Wow, rook d7. Just brilliant.
And here we are. What a game. And this is, I mean,
Michael is
right
a
here.
heck of an attacking player. You know, the funny thing is, look at this variation. Knight takes f6, bishop f6, rook g8, queen takes b5 check. Now that's a brilliancy for you.
Queen takes b5 check.
Uh-oh, is black falling for it? Or is black's got to play bishop b4 here? But then knight takes b7. He can't play rook g8, queen b5 check. Wow.
Uh-oh. He's in trouble here, huh?
Bishop b4 is meant by knight takes b7, I think.
Well, bishop b4
is forced. Knight b7, then rook g8.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Well, don't play rook g8. That would be something else.
He has to see this because he hasn't immediately done that.
Right. Give back some material.
That's crazy, huh? Queen b5 check. Incredible.
Well, black is going to be a pawn up. What's going to happen here? Say rook g8. I mean, white is. I mean, bishop b4.
And Alexei's saying bishop g7 maybe.
And then bishop takes g7. And then rook g8. That seems so lame. Then bishop can go back to f. I don't know. It's just like, oh, do you really want to play a move like that? Gosh. I mean, black looks like he has to give a piece up here.
Yeah, black was not prepared for.
Bishop to b4. What about bishop to b4? Knight takes b7, and then rook moves. And then the knight can't move out. Oh, the knight could move to d8. That's bizarre. And then we'd be left with some kind of very bizarre position.
While we wait to see on Eric's thought, let's go back to Rui's game against David Askin here. And Askin is doing a queenside assault over here.
Yeah, it's queenside versus kingside. Well, I mean, I like the kingside attack, of course. I think black probably has better opportunity on the king side, but you can't tell. It all depends on the skill of the players here. Yeah, and Alexi's point is pointed out that black could castle, and that's true. I didn't think about that. That's very nice in that previous position.
Let's go.
There's some interesting games going on, even though those grandmasters agreed to a quick draw. There's other games that are interesting too. So bishop b4, knight b7, castles. That is such a strange line, but it could be. And then what? Queen e3, king h7. Yeah, castling is legal. And there's no way
That's
that.
right. In a position like this, like, wait, you can't do that. Like, yeah, you actually can.
You can if your rook is attacked. So bishop b4. What else does black have to worry about after bishop b4? Bishop h8, bishop a5, and then that's possible. And white is down a pawn, and I'm not clear what should happen after that, what white should do.
I mean,
so bishop b4 looks like the move. Yeah, king is still exposed. That's true. So bishop b4, bishop takes h8, bishop a5, bishop f6, maybe queen d6 then, trying to unravel. You go back to f6, acrobatic 399, maybe queen d6, trying to evict the bishop at f6. It's very complicated.
And Eric definitely thinking on this one here.
Yeah, then you have to give room for the bishop to develop. That's true. And then, but you might lose the e4 pawn. I don't know. Black, yeah. Can black castle on the queen side? First, black castles on the king side, and then black castles on the queen side.
You just want to just change your mind.
But rook g8, queen takes b5 check. I have a feeling that's not going to happen. I think are you meaning f2 rather than c3? Because the queen can't go to c2 or c3. Yeah. Well, black's trying to work it out. While black's trying to work it out, is there any other extraordinary? How's the Winslow game going?
Winslow is. And Elliott spent a lot of time, like on his. I mean, he's under 20 minutes already.
Well, my feeling is time spent in the opening is usually well spent because if you can get a good game out of the opening, you can start playing more quickly during the rest of the game. Hopefully, because you're winning out of the opening, that would be nice.
Let's check on this game
I like
between.
White's game still here.
This is William Sartorio playing white against UC Berkeley's Nathan Fong. And as soon as I see a move played on the Eric Lee
Tense
game,
situation.
we'll go to it.
A lot of exchanges can happen in the center. I don't see anybody scoring a haymaker at this point yet. F5 is certainly an aggressive move. Well, let's see. If White takes on E5 and Black takes with the pawn, he's going to lose the pawn to Queen D8, Rook D8, and then taking on F5. So maybe Black will take with the Rook. And then White can't win a pawn on F5. So, and if White takes on F5 first, Knight F5, Knight F5, Bishop F5, and then takes on E5. Black could probably take with the Rook. Yeah, could take with the Rook. An active game for Black. So White's keeping more tension here. And Black could play D5 maybe here. Who knows?
And speaking of tension, look at we expect nothing less from Rui. She's now attacking on the king side.
Right. Well, that's how that game was going to go. Queen side versus king side, for sure.
And still no move by Eric Lee in his game.
Maybe there's something we're overlooking here. Again, here we go. White's playing F3 to try to stem the tide here. And sometimes that's good. That's the right thing to do. So White wants to play A5 and A6 and completely bust open the queen side. So as I said, it's often the more, it's how well the players play in these kind of positions, rather than one side being much better than the other. Although it's attractive to attack, you want to be the attacking player a lot of the time. I mean, attacking the king. I'd always prefer a king side attack to a queen side attack, but there are players that are very adept at handling these kind of positions. And we all have to handle them at some time or another anyway. So.
And let's do a quick check-in on Elliot Winslow and
yeah, it's true that these queenside attacks can turn into kingside attacks. No doubt about it. Yeah, you gotta like White here. I mean, the only thing is Knight D7 and Black can jump into the into the dark squares. So White has to act quickly here to make his space advantage count. I'm not sure what the move is either. Black's ready for Knight E5 or Knight C5. It's tough little position.
And we have moves in the Eric Lee game.
I'm doing a quick refresh.
Uh-oh. I think the internet stopped. I think we're back.
I did a quick refresh. Thanks everybody for staying with us and
Yeah,
watching
thank you.
fantastic event here. And
And this crazy game here between Mike Walder and Eric Lee.
so Queen C7 was played.
Yeah, Queen C7, and then now Rook G8.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do, I guess, another quick refresh here.
Yeah, I may need to start this again. Yeah, I think because I'm doing the same. Yeah, I may need to restart because I had some issue here.
Okay, well, do I need to rejoin through our Twitch link?